KKHT wants you to meet three of the classiest guys in real estate.
I am Chris Kelso, the maestro of mortgage.
I am Rob Cook, the godfather of real estate.
And I'm Joe Orsack, the king of credit swing. And together, we're
the Real Estate Rat Pack.
Much like us, real estate right now is smoking hot. So whether it's buying, selling, or owning, you need to check out the Real Estate Rat Pack.
They're here to take your calls and answer your questions live. Call now 1-800-808-5548. And now, the Real Estate Rat Pack.
Well, and good morning, everybody. The Real Estate Rat Pack show is in the house.
Good morning, good morning.
How's everyone doing?
We're doing great.
I'll tell you what,
day.
Beautiful, beautiful day out there. And I got to give a big shout out to Sigmund who made our intro. Man, I absolutely love that. And now, the Real Estate Rat Pack. Incredible way of putting it out there.
We're getting great feedback on that. And they think, how much fun is that? So
it is a lot of fun.
Well, before we start the show, Chris, what I like to do is do a shout out. One of our dear friends and vendors, Liam Helms. It's his birthday today, and he is 44 years young.
44
yes.
years young. Congratulations, Liam.
Absolutely. And he owns a company called Speedy Post, which is a great service to realtors. And, hope he has a wonderful day. Hope he's listening.
You're getting a freebie there, Liam, just because it's your birthday. Don't get used to it.
Yeah, you know what? I was about to say, don't be too nice. He's going to expect it from us all the time.
You got to set the bar low. Set the bar low.
Once a month, HAR, which is the Houston Association of Realtors, releases MLS data, which is our multiple listing service. And I just thought, would you like to adjust that for me, Joe?
You were off to a side. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
We are professionals. Don't try this at home.
Yes, don't. Yeah, and don't do it without a net.
Right. Or without kolaches.
Exactly. Okay, I digress. We go through it in our stats, and it's the amazing thing about Houston, Texas, is that we added about 112,000 jobs in the last 12 months. And if jobs created in this country, about 20% of them are created in Texas, and Houston's benefit. So every morning, get up and say, "Thank God you're in Houston." Our total property sales for the month of March, which is our last month complete, was 7,006, which is up 19.4%. That total dollar volume is $1,578,481,653, which is up 23.6%. Total active listings is way down. In March of 2012, we had almost 42,000 listings. Now we're down to 32,000 listings.
Wow.
So please, if you are thinking about selling your house, we need those listings. The market is hot, hot, hot. That's down 22%.
As far as the listings, the amount of homes that are listing right now.
The listings that are available to say. So there's no telling what the sales would be if the homes were on the market. Total pending sales right now is about 4,400, which is about 6.5% increase. Single-family home sales was 5,779, up 17%. That's a huge number. Now, to get things in perspective, Jim Gaines of Texas A&M Real Estate Research Center said Houston does as much business as 33 states combined.
Wow.
And so it's a huge market. We cover HAR covers 7 counties. So it's huge. It's huge. The average sales price is a second-time all-high with 236,000, 4.6 up from last year. And the single-family median sales set a new record, which is 172,000, up 6.5%. Months inventory, 3.5 months. This is a seller's market right now. A good market, a good balanced market is about 6 or 7 months. We are down inventory-wise, and our months on market 37.7%.
That is
huge.
Amazing.
But the good side of that is, and of course that's going to segue into our guest, is that about 20% of our sales in the last few years has been foreclosures. It's down to under 13% now. So this, like I say, is a great segue. I want to welcome Stacy Sutter. Stacy is with Keller Williams, and he runs a team called Big City Properties. And so welcome, Stacy.
Good morning. How are y'all?
We're pretty good, Stacy. How you doing?
Oh, another exciting day in real estate.
Well, Rob brought up some very interesting comments. You are what I consider one of the foreclosure specialists, one of the big companies here in town. Specializes, obviously, in putting some foreclosures on the market right there. We hear about the shadow inventory that's out there. Rob was talking about, obviously, the numbers that we're seeing. We need listings. We need things. Let us know a little bit about what's going on sort of in the foreclosure market.
Shadow inventory, is that like a black helicopter kind of inventory? What's going on with that?
Don't we wish?
Stealth inventory.
Stealth inventory.
Now, that is exactly what it is. Basically, what shadow inventory is properties that the banks have not actually contacted the homeowner, or they've made contact but haven't gone any farther in the foreclosure process. They know that it's a non-performing asset on the bank's books, but they're not willing to move forwards on it at this point. A lot of that has to do with our current administration and FHFA. They are in a position where there's an accounting principle called mark-to-market that expired in September of last year, and the current administration has given the banks until December of this year to figure out how they're going to bring that on their books. And right now, they're not bringing it on because if they do, it will cause them to have to show a loss.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you've got a bunch of property that's sitting out there.
Do we have any idea how many homes out there?
It's estimated somewhere over 4 million at this point right now in the market.
Wow. 4 million in shadow inventory, or the stealth inventory, as Rob put it.
That's
right.
right. The property that has not even been touched yet.
Wow.
And so what I've heard a lot of is that they're starting to try to do short sales as opposed to putting them in foreclosure. Is that correct? Is that a program that's being implemented successfully?
Well, they talk about it being a good deal. First off, let's be real honest. There is no such thing as short sale. A short sale, there is nothing short about it.
True that.
If you can get the bank to actually respond to you, you might be able to get it in there and get pushed through that system in 60 days, 90 days on a short side.
On a very short side.
Yeah, I've seen people that have been hanging in there for 6 months waiting to get closed on a transaction. The banks just really aren't set up for it, even though everybody keeps talking that's the way of the future.
And do us a favor, all of our listeners a favor. Describe the difference of what people talk about as a short sale versus a foreclosure, because I think there's a confusion sometimes in the market about what that is.
Absolutely. A foreclosure is best described as the bank actually goes through the legal process of foreclosing a property in the court system, going out, making notice to that homeowner, offering them what is called cash for keys to move, and then if they choose not to, then going into the process of a full-on eviction, and then showing up, doing a forcible eviction, etc. Probably less than 5% ever go to a forcible eviction. We do cash for keys, help that homeowner out a little bit, give them some money to get moved, and that's usually the way the process goes. Short sale on the other side is the homeowner and the bank have agreed to take a lesser amount for the property and actually sit there and negotiate that back and forth. And the real estate agent puts a sign in the yard. It goes up for sale just like a regular MLS listing and puts it out there, hoping that they're going to be able to negotiate that price down from what they actually owe.
And exactly what you're negotiating is the payoff, isn't that correct?
Right, you're negotiating the payoff.
So if you owed $150 and they say, you know what, the value of the house is only $130, you're basically saying we're going to negotiate that payoff from $150 down to $130. Now, there's also something that has to be negotiated, a lot of people don't know about, is a deficiency judgment.
Absolutely.
And what can happen, of course, is if you foreclose and there is a deficiency, you owed $150 and you sold it for $130, there's $20,000 that could end up as phantom income. And now, in your experience, has that been something that can be negotiated as part of the settlement with the bank to not have that deficiency?
In some states you can, and Texas happens to be one of them. But there is a federal law that was going through earlier this year that was going to make that a national deal. Texas actually has laws on the books that keeps them from doing that here, but the rest of the country doesn't.
And one of the things I want to point out, by the way, because we have a lot of clients that come to us and say, you know what, I think I want to do a short sale because I want to sell my home and it's not selling correct in this market. And a short sale is really not meant just because your home depreciated in value. It's really meant for individuals who are truly struggling with a payment. In other words, the bank is really not having a serviceable loan. And it's a negotiation because they're behind in payments, etc. It's not a good solution, though, if an individual just happens to want to sell their home and it's not moving very well.
It's not even an option.
Not even an option. That is correct. And a lot of people, I think, get confused on that because then in order to qualify for a short sale, you have to be late on your mortgage payments. Well, guess what? If you end up negotiating, you can't buy a new home once you're late on your mortgage payments in the past 12 months.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of things also that people have to realize, and that's why I wanted you to point out those differences between those two because it is very important.
I've actually run into that on quite a lot of occasions with that question, both online, just from a credit standpoint. There's a lot of this. This is a topic that comes up a lot on the credit side. The difference between a foreclosure versus a short sale. How does it impact credit? That type of thing. So, and I've got some stuff I definitely want to get into on that. But from a logical or moral standpoint, when that question gets asked, it just grates on a nerve for me because it says to me that the person doesn't understand that when they purchased a home, they purchased an investment. And what they're asking is, well, gee, if my investment goes down, how can I stick it to the person who lent me the money to purchase that investment so that they're the ones stuck with the loss, not me? That's really what they're asking when they say, hey, I'd like to go ahead and do a short sale on this property because the value went down and I don't want to lose my money in this investment.
Right.
So, I mean, can you imagine if you approach that on, hey, I bought a lot of stock in Walmart and they went down recently, so I was wanting to do a short sale on that. So I don't lose any of my investment capital.
Attention listeners, Joe is on his box. And he is
It's going to be a long jump to the ground,
going to be a
Joe.
long jump to the ground, everybody.
I'm like, come on. That is just the cheesiest darn question to ask.
But it happens all the time. And,
It
in
happens
some
all the
states,
time.
And I've read story after story in other states where someone did exactly that. And Florida was probably one of the hardest hit states. And people were walking away from houses and then to say, we want to do a short sale. And you know what? But they were financially viable people.
Right.
And if you're, you have to prove up that you're essentially bankrupt to be able to do a short sale. So we don't recommend it. Stacy, I've got a friend of mine that has a house across the street from that's foreclosed. It's been sitting, I know, from my knowledge, at least 4 or 5 months. Lawn's being mowed, but there's no activity. There's no contact information. Can you kind of address the mechanics of, a house is foreclosed and vacated and abandoned, and before it can come on the market, 'cause a lot of people would like to buy that house, and it's sitting there deteriorating.
Absolutely. The process is really a complex machine that goes in, and one thing has to happen before the next does. A lot of times, if you'll see a house that's sitting vacant and you're wondering, wow, I wished I could buy that one, wonder who has it listed, wonder who the bank is. A lot of times that yard is being mowed by the homeowners association. And as foreclosure brokers, when we step in and take possession of that property, we usually have this very large bill from the homeowners association that they assess to us because they've been mowing the yard for the last 6 months because whoever was servicing the loan didn't send anybody out there. So that's really how, if you see that look, there's not a whole lot you can do with it. Once the property goes to the courthouse step sale, it's been set with a trustee and a certain dollar value has been set on it. We will take X. If that amount isn't met, then the bank steps back in and buys their property back. And usually that happens through Fannie or Freddie.
Well, wait a minute. Before we go on, tell us who Fannie and Freddie are.
Oh, well, that would be Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. I didn't think in this day and age anybody in America didn't know who Fannie and Freddie was.
Just in case.
They step in, they take possession of the property, and they assign it to an REO broker like myself. What'll happen then is we go in, we post notices in the window. I know a lot of investors have gotten to the point now where they literally just drive streets looking for those Dayglow signs in the front window that says who the agent is that's going to list the property. Contact information will be on there, and we start what's called initial clean out and initial yard. Initial yard, initial clean out is where the trash out crew comes in, cleans the property, mows the yard, and gets everything to meet at least minimum cleaning standards.
Well, we're running a bit closer to a break, but we kind of quickly tell them what an REO broker means.
An REO broker, REO actually stands for real estate owned. It's a title on a bank's balance sheet. But an REO broker is one who specializes in dealing with just foreclosed property.
Wow, we're going to be coming up against a break right now. We want to hear from you. You can call us at 800-808-5548. Reach out, touch us, ask us a question in regards to foreclosure, anything in between. Want to give a shout out also to my buddy Joe, who is driving in the car down to Clear Lake. Good luck in fixing your garage door right now. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You'll shout
My
out to
heart
anybody.
won't let my feet do things that they should do.
Going home to a space that inspires you from the minute you walk in is a luxury we all dream about. Why not make it a reality? Guillen home design options are thoughtful and sophisticated and will continue to surprise you. A Guillen home means architectural details, impressive amenities, and dramatic design features that suit your individual taste. After all, you have a distinctive sense of style. Your home should too. Guillen Homes is consistently recognized for exceptional design, with awards including 2010 Builder of the Year, 2010 Star Awards, and Best Product Design. You want the best home for your family, and you also deserve the best home buying experience. Guillen Homes offers a personal approach to home building with a commitment to thorough professional service. Visit GuillenHomes.com to see special offers and promotions. That's GEHAN Homes.com. Guillen Homes, designed for your life.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. Your application was denied for credit reasons.
I'm sorry, sir. Your credit score is too low to qualify for a home loan at this time.
No.
No.
No. No. No.
Are you tired of being turned down for credit? Have your dreams of home ownership, a new car, or even a promotion at work been shot down because of poor credit issues? Well, it's time to start dreaming again. Improve My Credit USA, the consumer-voted #1 credit repair company in Texas for 3 years running, can help you find a new direction for your credit. For a free consultation, dial 281-914-4116. That's 281-914-4116. It's a complimentary consultation, and a certified credit consultant is waiting to speak to you right now. Start dreaming again and call today. 281-914-4116. Improve My Credit USA.
Nice. Boom, ba-doom, ba-doom. Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Show. We want to hear from you. Again, you can dial. What is that number, Joe?
800-808-5548.
I like the new delivery, by the way.
I think he's got it.
I was practicing in the bathroom this morning, so looking at the mirror, shaping the word.
Shaping the word, making it clear. Well, you know, Rob, let's continue down that line of questioning that you were talking about a bit earlier with Stacy, by the way.
Well, I think we kind of interrupted him because he really was on a roll there, and we just kind of stopped him. And the fact is, we were talking about the mechanics of it. You've seen the house sitting in a subdivision. It's sitting empty, and we're bringing it to market. So basically, you've been assigned this, and often I know that you'll be asked to do what we call a BPO, which is a broker's price opinion. So from that point, let's get it on the market. What's it going to take?
Well, what we do, we were talking about the initial trash out and all. Here in Houston, we have companies that go around, and that's all they do is service our REO properties. They go in, they do the initial clean, do the initial trash out, get the yard looking good. We deal with the HOAs, make sure they're all happy with us, that we're not having any outstanding bills on this property. And then we go in and do a broker price opinion. And a broker price opinion is a solid walkthrough by an REO broker. And what you're looking for is all of the repairs, room by room, that you're going to need to make. These are the same kind of repairs that an investor is going to look at when they're trying to determine, what they want to offer on a house. These are the repairs that a buyer needs to really be looking at when they're thinking about buying this property. And then once we get that, we pull it together with comps, based out of the MLS, no more than 6 months old, within 100 square feet, et cetera.
And of course, comps means comparable properties that have sold.
That's right. You mean everybody doesn't speak real estate? Okay. So anyway, we pull them together, put together it's a spreadsheet for the client. And then at the end of it, the last question on a BPO is, do you want, meaning me, the real estate broker, do I feel that this property should be sold in its as-is condition, or should we go ahead and spend the money to repair it? I can tell you that 3 years ago, I was repairing maybe 30-40% of our properties. Today, in this market, as hot as it is, we're repairing between 60 and 70% of the properties.
Oh, my.
And
Wow.
and when I talk about a repair, we're talking that the bank, at their cost, is coming in and putting in anywhere from 10 to 15 to as much as $30,000 in some of these houses.
Now, as an REO broker, you often front that money for them. Is that correct?
Yes, we do.
I think I've heard that many times you might be extended out $100,000 in repair costs and things like that.
You know, absolutely. That money comes out of my pocket. They don't pay interest. They don't pay love and affection. There's nothing. It just makes a big circle, and I stand back and watch it go round.
But you do get a Christmas card from them every year, right?
No, they don't even send me a Christmas card.
I'm just glad to know that. I'm just glad to know that no one in Stacy's life is paying for love and affection.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Let's get back to the process. So I got to keep these people contained.
Yes. This is Christian radio, right?
Yes,
That's right.
Yes, it is. And so you've done a broker's price opinion, and the bank has accepted that price opinion and said this is what we're going to put it in the market for. Okay. Right. So go from that point.
From that point right there, then it becomes a property just like anything else you see in the multiple listing service. We fill out the MLS sheet that you can see at har.com. And, you can have your own agent represent you. Your agent can take you out there, open the door. If you don't have an agent, you can actually call my office because I have buyer's agents that will be more than happy to walk you through that property.
And what's that contact number for your team?
Our contact number is 281-463-SALE. 281-463-SALE or 7253.
And just to address that real quickly, Stacy is an amazing producer, and you were Houston Business Journal's top 25. You sold like 353 listings last year or something like ungodly number of things. And he does it with this amazing team. And how many people are on your team?
Currently, we are at a team without buyer's agents. We have 6 buyer's agents, and our REO team is 5.
And you got a great team, by the way. I'll tell you, I've worked with you. I've worked with the team.
Yes, we have.
Incredible organization over there at Big City Properties. I would definitely encourage anyone who's listening who's interested in learning more about the foreclosure to reach out and touch base with you.
Now, I've also had this happen quite often. I'll get somebody who's an investor or wants to get a list in advance of them being on the market, and they go, can I buy that? And I know that some of the lenders will put restrictions on who can buy these houses. So kind of address that if you would.
All of the major players in the game, and we're going to talk about Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, etc. They all have a basic common goal, and that is to put homeowners back into these properties. And so what you're going to see, and a lot of times if you call and you're an investor, you're going to hear, I'm sorry, it's under the first look period. And all that basically is for the first 15 to 30 days, depending on the client, the only people that can submit an offer on that property is a homeowner, somebody who is going to make that their primary residence. Now, if you're not planning on doing that, that doesn't mean you can't submit a contract. It just means that my client, and we will submit it to them because we submit all contracts to all of our clients, but we will have to mark it as that is an investor contract, and they will sit on that contract until the 15-day first look period or the 30-day first look period's up.
And in this market, I'm sure investors are ended up not getting a lot of houses.
Absolutely. The investors are getting the ones that are literally, almost crumbling to the ground, the really, really bad ones. This is such a hot market. We have not, as an example, a week ago Monday, we put 9 properties on the market on Monday morning. By Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock, all 9 of those properties were either under contract or in a multiple offer situation and being negotiated.
Wow. That's amazing.
The other thing I was going to ask you is, from a lot of times on the foreclosure market, you're going to hear a couple things. You're going to see FHA foreclosure. You're going to see HomePath, part of Fannie Mae. You're going to see HomeStep. Describe, you're going to see only eligible for 203K because it needs rehab.
Right.
Describe a little bit about those differences right there on a foreclosure setup and how that is determined.
You're asking an REO broker to do your job, Chris? Do I have lender on my forehead?
But you know what I mean.
We wear lots of hats. From the lender
perspective, but from the aspect of a lot of times you can determine if it's eligible for that $100 down payment program for FHA. We have a lot of questions.
Absolutely,
asking us that.
And the way you look at that on a Fannie Mae in particular, on the rider on the sign in the front yard, it will actually say if it is eligible for the HomePath product,
gotcha.
The $100 down deal and the repair product. Right now, Freddie Mac doesn't really have one.
Right.
You go to the VA, they don't really have one, but some of the other banks, in fact, do. A lot of lenders can do a 203K.
That is correct.
Thank you. Which allows them to go in and make repairs on a property and roll it into their cost. So a lot of times it has to do with who your lender is and actually providing that information, having your real estate agent get that information to your lender and be able to look at that property and make that determination.
You know, Chris, it's a good point, Stacy. You know, you are the lender, and a lot of people talk about 203Ks, and a lot of people are fearful of them or don't understand them. Could you give us like a 30-second elevator speech as to what a 203K FHA loan is?
Well, you know, very similar to what Stacy said. Whenever you have a property out there, you have two types or multiple types of FHA loans. One is you have an FHA loan that already comes with a $100 down payment, already comes with a repair escrow built into it. The other thing, and that can be financed through a traditional 203B, okay? A 203K is a repair escrow as part of FHA. So what you would do is you would actually engage in this property. There would be a repair required, and that repair might be, 10% of the value of the property. And so you would actually get a loan for whatever your offer amount is, plus the repair cost into that single, by doing it under a single loan.
And what's the limits on that?
Well, an FHA loan has a loan limit of 271.
Oh, many more the repair allowance. What's the
up
maximum?
To 20%.
Up to 20%.
That is correct. But it all depends, obviously, on every property is a little bit different. And on FHA, the one thing I warn everybody is when you're doing a 203K, you have to get an FHA inspector that walks through that process, and that's an upfront fee that can be quite costly. And that's why it bleeds into one of the second questions I was going to ask, Stacy, unfortunately.
Yes.
not a lender one.
Oh, no, another
but
question.
I tell everybody is foreclosures are great properties, but they're also not for everybody. We talk about there's a lot of first-time home buyers who think it's real easy to go out there and get a foreclosure and fix it up or get the financing to get it fixed up. Right. And that's not always the case. A foreclosure is a great property. You sell a lot of them. I've seen a lot of your listings. I've financed a lot of your listings out there. However, it's not as easy for everybody, especially some of those first-time home buyers who think they can get this incredible deal, and they get into it. It ends up being a little bit of a house of cards sometimes, as you mentioned, a little bit more crumbled down than what they looked for.
Exactly. If you're a first-time home buyer and you are looking for a house, we really recommend that you're looking, or we suggest what you're looking for is what we call a paint and carpet rehab, where you've got your closing costs, you've come out of your pocket with all of this cash to buy this thing, but you got to keep in mind that, paint and carpet, though it's cheap, it's still going to be money out of your pocket. And so if you're walking into a house as a first-time home buyer, you don't have a lot of cash in your pocket, that's probably not a property you really want to look at because, let's be honest, carpeting is going to cost you approximately $4,000 for an 1,800 square foot home. Now, you can do the work yourself and roll your own paint, but you've still got that cost. And a lot of times, if it's a young family, that's an expense that they can bear. But when you start talking about a property where the air conditioner has been torn apart, where the electrical wiring has been ripped out of the walls, where you've got definite signs of water and discoloration, appliances are missing, you start getting into that kind of stuff or structural issues, now you're really talking about some very, very high dollar items. And as an REO broker, those are the things that we actually put on the BPO and give to our client. If it has structural issues, I can almost guarantee you 99% of the time that property is going to go as an as-is sale. And it is really geared more towards the investor than the homeowner. Because I can tell you all of my clients from B of A, Fannie, Freddie, the VA, they really are trying to do right by the consumer. They really, because we disclose everything we know about that property. So if we have a structural issue and we've had a structural report done on it, we're going to give that to that home buyer so that they know what they're getting into.
Yeah, and also a reality's sake is that if someone's not paying their mortgages, they're also not maintaining the home. And there's going to be things you don't know. And, of course, always get an inspection prior to purchasing a property by a licensed inspector or engineer, absolutely, at any time. So
no, I would absolutely agree. And as you mentioned right there also, the other side of things is if it's one that requires a lot of structural repairs to it, financing is not available to the average person out there.
That's
not
a
even
cash
the
deal.
well qualified. So it's it's also a catch associated with that is First-time home buyers, you mentioned, paint and carpet. That's, great deals out there. If it's something above and beyond that, financing is going to be a little difficult on those properties.
Absolutely.
So, we're coming up against the break again right now. Man, time flies by when you are having fun. You can reach out and touch us or ask us a question at 800-808-5548. Maybe not touch us, but you can at least ask us a question. We're going to a break right now, but stay tuned and we'll be right back.
What a life, I'm in love.
Going home to a space that inspires you from the minute you walk in is a luxury we all dream about. Why not make it a reality? Guillen Home design options are thoughtful and sophisticated and will continue to surprise you. A Guillen home means architectural details, impressive amenities, and dramatic design features that suit your individual taste. After all, you have a distinctive sense of style. Your home should too. Guillen Homes is consistently recognized for exceptional design, with awards including 2010 Builder of the Year, 2010 Star Awards, and Best Product Design. You want the best home for your family, and you also deserve the best home buying experience. Guillen Homes offers a personal approach to home building with a commitment to thorough professional service. Visit GuillenHomes.com to see special offers and promotions. That's GEHAN Homes.com. Guillen Homes, designed for your life.
Are you looking to finance a new home or refinance your existing home? Look no further. Call Chris Kelso at Willow Bend Mortgage. Willow Bend Mortgage is a mortgage banker in the greater Houston area. In business since 1993, Willow Bend Mortgage offers a great array of products from FHA, VA, and USDA loans to conventional and jumbo loans, all with great rates and incredible service from Chris and his staff. Call Chris Kelso at Willow Bend Mortgage today, 713-256-9138, or online at chriskelso.com. Again, that's 713-256-9138 or online at chriskelso.com. Available 24 hours a day. Great rates, exceptional service. That's Willow Bend Mortgage.
When you're buying or selling real estate, you can trust Prudential Anderson Properties, the fastest growing real estate company in Houston. Prudential Anderson Properties has over 300 trained professional realtors ready to serve you in 15 locations throughout Houston and across the state. Whether you're buying, selling, or leasing, Prudential Anderson Properties is the smart choice. Check us out at AndersonProps.com. That's AndersonProps.com. Find out why so many choose Prudential Anderson Properties for all their real estate needs. You know us. We know real estate.
And welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Show. We are live and on air. Again, you can reach us at 800-808-5548. Great time in the studio. We're talking everything you need to know about foreclosures. We have Stacy Sutter with Big City Properties in studio right now, along with the Real Estate Rat Pack, all the extraordinaire, the godfather of real estate, Rob Cook, right next to me, and the king of credit swing, Joe Orsak, who is busy, by the way, typing on his computer. And I want to warn everybody, if I ever go to Joe and he's not paying attention and he has a random thought coming out, that's what's going on, is I caught him off guard, didn't I?
Yeah, last week I'm busy answering somebody's question on Facebook, and you straight up threw me under the bus because we had
because we can.
We had 2 minutes left in the show, and I'm thinking surely Chris is just going to wrap up. He's not going to ask me a question, so I'm typing away, and you asked me something, so I'm ready for you now. You asked me something. I'm just going to randomly start quoting something. 14 or 15, Chris. There's a lot of data that's showing we're going more towards the 14, but consumer surveys are pushing more towards like a 15 conclusion. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's great. And the other thing I think is really good is that we have the ability to do like that in the studio right here and have a good time at everything. But, we do have Stacy Sutter here. We are talking about foreclosures. What I want to ask this question from a consumer base.
Sure.
So when individuals are out there, what's the best way to go about engaging if you are truly just want to get the very best deal and you got in your mind a foreclosure is the best deal? How does that process work in engaging with Big City Properties and walk through that process to find a home?
Well, we work just like any other real estate office. And what we ask is that you come in, sit down with one of our buyer's agents, and have a conversation with them. We really take the time to learn what our clients are looking for. And then the next step, and you're going to love it, is we send them to somebody like you, Chris. We will not put people in the car, and especially in this market, we're not looking for a pre-qual letter, which is about a useless piece of paper that, most lenders send out the door.
Right.
In this market, as fast as it is moving, we are asking that all of our clients get loan approved, which means it's gone through underwriting, and they say, yes, you're approved, just put an address on it and we're good to go.
Right.
We're asking all of our clients to do that because the market is so tight and it is moving so quickly. I don't think I have a buyer's agent that hasn't been in multiple offers for the last month on everything we've submitted.
And you mentioned something. Approved means the following, because I've said this to everybody all my life, is it doesn't mean filling in a loan application, having credit run. Right. It means filling in a loan application, having your credit run, sending in your last 2 years' tax returns, sending in your last 30 days' paychecks, sending in your last 2 months' bank statements, and verifying from an identity perspective you are who you are, so that all that information can be looked at and reviewed, because a lot of times it might be you think you're self-employed and you earn $100,000 a year, but you didn't realize that what we're going to do, we're going to look at it and realize you wrote off $80,000 of that, so now it's really $20,000 a year.
Have you been talking to my tax guy again?
No, he called us and warned us.
Hey, we use the same one. But, the other side of things is you might have large deposits. Individuals start preparing and they don't get things straight correctly, and so you have to document a lot of these things. So exactly what you said, and I appreciate you saying that, is all those listening, if you're out there and you're getting a loan from whoever it might be, whichever mortgage professional you're working with, make sure you're doing the right thing up front by providing them all the information. I tell everybody is we can work with you if we know all the information, but if we don't, it becomes a very difficult process.
Well, and in this market today, it's actually a negotiating tool from the real estate agent side, because we walk in and I actually put on the contracts, this client is loan approved. This is not a pre-qual letter. And so that's a signal to that seller that you've got a serious buyer here. And in a market where you're competing against 4, 5, 6, 7 other contracts at the exact same time, they're looking for the best deal. They're looking for the one person out there that's going to be able to close on this deal in 30 to 45 days. They're going to get their money. They're going to be able to move, and somebody's going to be moving into their house.
And Stacy, I'm hearing a lot from my agents and stuff like that. They're taking somebody out and they're insisting on making lowball offers. Are you seeing that still happening? And they're going to offer 20% less because it's a foreclosure, and by gosh, I can steal this house.
Yeah, well, anybody who thinks that you can steal a foreclosure today in the Houston market is whistling Dixie. You thought I was going to say something else, didn't you, Rob?
I didn't know. I didn't know. We were sitting there standing by.
So, no, actually, if the property has been repaired, it is still sold as an as-is, where-is sale, but I can guarantee you that we are going to price that thing at the top end of the market. We've got new carpet, new paint, new appliances. We've done the repairs. This thing is going to be in beautiful condition, especially if it's a Fannie or a Freddie, because they do phenomenal work. We have 5 or 6 contractors that Freddie is contracted with that do just amazing work on our properties.
So those listening, those consumers out there listening, it's not that market. I survived the 80s, and I lived through the 80s. And yes, you could buy things at unbelievable prices, but the banks and lenders got a lot smarter this time. They got great brokers like Stacy and said, this is what it's going to sell for in this market. And so they're getting great prices on it.
Well, and the other thing is, if you think about it and what we were talking about when we did this intro, the market has tightened up. There is not a whole lot of inventory out there. And so as a homeowner, whether it's a foreclosure or regular resale, you will get the money out of your house if you steam clean your carpets and paint those walls and clean them up and declutter them. I don't care if you're a regular resale or a foreclosure. You're going to be able to get a much better price for your house in today's market. A year and a half ago, I would be telling you, hey, take a foreclosure all day, come in $20,000, $30,000 below market. We'll negotiate it down somewhere in the middle, and it'll be yours, and you'll be walking into a house that you get to play with. Those days are gone in Houston.
Right, and as you mentioned, that was as little as a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Go to today, as Rob was saying a bit earlier. The amount of properties that are listed on MLS have dropped down by over 11,000 properties. For all those listening, if we're adding 112,000 jobs a year here in Houston, and we only have 30,000 properties on MLS, you can see where that gap of inventory is. And that's why it's become a seller's market. That's why we want to get listings. That's why we want to get that shadow inventory back out there and on the market. Why? Because we need homes to sell right now.
Right.
One of the things you're seeing is the multiple offer opportunities. I mean, there are a lot of multiple bids coming in. And individuals, whereas before you would say, let's go in and meet in the middle. You can bet. Right. Now what they're doing, they're meeting on the top side. It's bid $20,000 over and see if that's high enough.
Right. Walk in with an offer that's $5,000 above market value or more, of list price, and then see how many you're up against.
Right.
Because what's going to happen in that process is your agent's going to submit an offer to my office, and my asset managers in-house are going to actually contact your agent back, notify you that you're in a multiple offer situation. You have 24 hours to send us your best and final offer, and then we're going to submit your best and final offer to the bank. And for everybody who thinks it is me who makes that decision, it is not. It is the asset manager sitting in a little QB somewhere in Dallas, most likely, who's going to pick the offer that they want. And if you don't think, it used to be that cash wasn't necessarily king. I can tell you folks, in this market today, cash is king. And if we have two offers and we're looking at them side by side, and let's say they're both $115,000 and one is cash and one is financed, I can tell you every time the bank is now going to take that cash offer. Where in the past, they would actually look at it. Not today.
One of our comedic Facebook following listeners wants to know, they're listening to the show while they're vacuuming and wanted to know if we could talk louder.
We know we can get Joe on his subject matter again, where his voice raised about 3 octaves more.
That's right. Well, Chris, I do want to talk about this, but we've kind of addressed one side of that, and that's from the person looking at a foreclosure as a purchase. There's a whole other segment of our audience, which is what about people that are going into this? What about people that are experiencing this, perhaps because of job loss and that type of thing? That is a big, impact. And Stacy, if you have a number for me, what's the volume of properties going into foreclosure right now look like, roughly?
Probably in this market right now, once again, based on the current administration that's in power, we're not seeing as many foreclosures. We're seeing the banks hold the properties.
Sure. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, okay.
Probably 5-10% if I had to guess.
Gotcha.
They're not actually going out and really pressing the foreclosure market right now.
Well,
no, they really aren't.
Ironically, that actually kind of touches on the credit side too, because we get that question. Well, my house, we left our property 2 years ago, but they still haven't reported it in foreclosure. So you get an impact on that side, which is kind of a really crazy situation to deal with. From a Fair Credit Reporting Act, it's impossible for a property to be 120 days late every month for the last 2 years, unless you're still paying on the house. So we end up facing those kind of things.
That's a great segue to ask both Joe and Chris this question. Somebody's been foreclosed and they've been reemployed. Now they're in a good, stable job. How long before they can buy a house?
Well, from a lending side of things, it depends on what type of loan they're going to qualify for. Very similar to what bankruptcy is that you have, traditionally speaking, on FHA says you're 3 years removed. Fannie Mae says you're 2. There's overlays from your investors who say 5. So it really depends on what that looks like, when it was done, how it was posted. The one curious thing where most people forget is a foreclosure from a lending perspective is looked at when it was actually foreclosed on. Not when you moved out of the house, not when you went late payment, 90 days. It's when it was actually foreclosed on, and sometimes that can be a big gap. That can be a gap like Joe was saying. I moved out and I stopped paying, but guess what? It hasn't technically been foreclosed on for 2 years, especially if you're in markets like, Florida or some of the areas in California with individuals that are moving here. But as a general rule of thumb, FHA, you generally want to be 3 years removed. Generally speaking, on the conventional market, you want to be 3 to 4 years removed. Conventional is usually a little bit higher because the investors out there, all the big banks who are buying, are still really tight in regards to their lending requirements. They still want to make sure that individuals are very highly qualified because of what's going on with the administration. There's risk has been taken out of the market, and they want to continue to try to do that even more.
Right. And that's where perhaps a short sale can be an advantage over a foreclosure because of that fact. If a short sale is done, it's completed, it's from the damage is done, and you're going to start recovering from that point out. Whereas if a foreclosure is not actually reported as a foreclosure and they're hanging on to it for a more favorable market or whatever else, you could end up with that thing not reporting as a closed foreclosure on your credit for a long time and having to fight that battle, which is a nightmare, let me tell you.
Right, and you mentioned right there on the short sale, it also depends on how everyone asks me, how long does that have to be removed from a short sale? It really depends on how your credit's going to look. It depends upon how that investor who went through a short sale process with you reported it on your credit. And I've seen it reported 1,000 different ways. I've seen it reported as being sold, that's it. I've seen it reported with a pending action item or a pending debt. I've seen it sold with a collection being placed on your account. So it really depends. And what I tell everybody on the opposite side is, if you think you're going to start struggling, contact your bank immediately. Start working with them through the process. Don't wait until it's too late and just move out. You can generally save some things, or at least save credit-wise a little bit better by working that process. We are coming against the break, aren't we, Joe?
Yes, we are. Let's touch on that when we come back. There's definitely a couple quick points we can give. Give us a call at 800-808-5548. 800-808-5548. And we'll be right back.
Flights or count the stairs, 'cause I know someone's there. I took the high-paying sweep.
Going home to a space that inspires you from the minute you walk in is a luxury we all dream about. Why not make it a reality? Guillen Home design options are thoughtful and sophisticated and will continue to surprise you. A Guillen Home means architectural details, impressive amenities, and dramatic design features that suit your individual taste. After all, you have a distinctive sense of style. Your home should too. Guillen Homes is consistently recognized for exceptional design, with awards including 2010 Builder of the Year, 2010 Star Awards, and Best Product Design. You want the best home for your family, and you also deserve the best home buying experience. Guillen Homes offers a personal approach to home building with a commitment to thorough professional service. Visit GuillenHomes.com to see special offers and promotions. That's GEHAN Homes.com. Guillen Homes, designed for your life.
I'll be right there. I've got to get the clothes out of the washing machine. Why is there soap everywhere, honey?
Not all home warranties are the same. OneGuard Home Warranties, in business for over 23 years, has plans designed for Texas. Whether you're buying, selling, or if you own a home, check out OneGuard's great protection for your home systems and appliances. They really offer more, including convenience features other companies haven't even thought of, like lawn fertilization and a very extensive pest control plans included, to name a few. Contact one of 3 awesome Houston Home Warranty representatives, Natasha, Sandra, and Bill, and see why they have one of the highest renewal rates in the industry. Call today or have your realtor or title company call OneGuard at 888-896-0014. That's 888-896-0014. Or visit them at OneGuardHomeWarranty.com. You've seen the rest. Now buy from the best. OneGuard Home Warranties.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show. We have an awesome show going on. Some great guests in the studio today. We're discussing foreclosures, and want to give you the opportunity to give us a call here in the studio if you've got questions about foreclosures, no matter what side of that you're on the investment side, or if you're looking at going through it yourself and you need some direction. Give us a call at 800-808-5548. To ask our experts the questions.
And you've been practicing that number. That's awesome.
That's good.
I've got it down.
You got it down. And I see that we have a call right now. Cheryl Lee, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Good morning. Welcome to the Real Estate Rat Pack Show. Do you have a question for us?
I do. I have a question. I'm really a new investor trying to learn the business, but I went to a buying summit and I bought a property in Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, man.
Which is the worst real estate market in the U.S. right now, by the way.
Yeah. I was a new investor there. I was so excited, and so I paid quite a bit down on it, and I financed the rest with hard money. But I bought it sight unseen, which is my husband saying, I told you not to do that. But anyway, I have yet to, there was a tenant there, I thought, but when I checked with the property manager, they said they had kicked the tenant out because they weren't paying rent, so now I'm just paying on it. But in the meantime, I also learned from pictures they sent me that someone had broken in and kind of trashed the property. But I'm trying to figure out. I mean, do I need to just back on out and lose my money, or just kind of wait? And they say the people that I bought it from at the buying summit said that they sent their rehab people out there and they're fixing it up, but that the weather is bad right now and they can't move forward quickly. But right now I'm just waiting. I don't mind it being a rental because I bought it for a buy and hold, but right now I'm just not collecting any money. It's a 5-bedroom house, and the pictures they showed me, I mean, it was a really nice house. But I don't know at this point, do I have an exit strategy or what?
Geraldine, I could never recommend that you let a house go back or anything of that nature. And if it's something that you wanted to use as a rental, I would probably get an expert in that area to rehabilitate the house for you, and then put it on the market to lease. I mean, I think that's your best recourse.
Definitely, if you're in a position financially to bear that, I would definitely go down that road, because otherwise you have to look at the impact of it from a credit standpoint for you and how that's going to affect you and what you want to do with your buying power down the road. Letting it go as a property right off the bat. Fair Isaacs, actually, and I'll post this up on Real Estate Rat Pack on the website today, had a great blog article, bankinganalyticsblog.fico.com. Like I said, I'll post it. But basically, they give a range just so the listeners, you and the listeners, can have an idea. 30-day late payment, depending on where you're at on credit. As soon as it hits 30 days late, you're going to expect a drop of between 40 to 110 points. 90 days late, yes. So, and it gets worse. At 90 days late, 70 to 135 points. And at the point at which that you go to foreclosure, short sale, or deed in lieu, you can expect an 85 to 160 point drop in your credit.
We'll give you one suggestion also going forward. Never buy it sight unseen either, by the way.
Thank
Just
you.
going to put that out there.
I was going to say, Cheryl, don't ever buy anything you haven't walked. Because let me tell you, real estate agents, we are phenomenal photographers. But at the end of the day, it's lipstick on a pig, darling.
Yeah. Yep. And just so you can have an idea, it depends too where you're starting out from credit score wise. If you're at a 780, for instance, and you drop down to a 680 or a 650, the higher you are, the greater the loss is going to be, and the longer it's going to take you to get back to that level. So if you were at a 780 and you drop down to a 650 or likewise, it can take you as much as 7 years to get back to that point. Whereas if you were at a 650 and drop down to 550, you can be back in a couple years. So you really need to be aware of that part of it as when you're considering what your decision is going to be moving forward.
And it might be painful, but like I said, I would get somebody in the area that can give you some expert advice. Maybe get 2 or 3 people to talk to, get the price it's going to cost to rehabilitate it, and then get a professional to lease it for you, and then at least be able to cover the cost of carrying it.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, thank you very much for calling. We appreciate you having them listen to the show today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We also have another caller that just came in. Joe, actually, is calling in from Houston. Joe, how you doing?
Hi. Yes, my name's Joe. I think I met you at an A&M game one time. I'm not sure.
He wouldn't admit to that.
Entirely possible.
That is definitely true. And I know Joe very well, by the way. So he's an avid listener of the show and always says he's going to call in, so I'm always a little hesitant when he does.
What's your question for us, Joe?
Yeah, you know me well, and I've been through a foreclosure via divorce. So my question is not necessarily how long before you can get credit to buy a new house, but how long does typically a foreclosure affect your just credits? And what I'm also looking at is affects my job search because it's on my credit history. How and I'm doing everything the right way, reestablishing, paying bills on time and all that. But, what does it take? How long does that typically affect you? Do you know?
Yes, good question. This is Joe. Joe, the king of credit swing. To answer your question, if you do nothing other than just pay your bills on time, the scoring model is that the last 24 months represents 80% of your credit score. So if you did nothing to repair it, if all you did was just pay your bills on time, you can expect a 24-month window where it's really going to have a pretty dramatic impact on your credit. During that time, of course, it's going to slope down. The immediate impact as soon as it hits is going to be the worst part. It'll segue down from there at a 3-month, 6-month interval, then 12 months. And once you cross the 24-month hurdle, you'll really get outside of the significant damage on your credit. Having said that, I would tell you this: definitely give my company a call. You can have it's a free analysis because there's definitely some steps that you can do to lessen that impact. Doesn't matter what item reports on your credit. People ask us all this time, well, can you get a foreclosure removed or can you get a bankruptcy removed? I can't remove anything. All I can do is make sure that it's reported accurately. And big shocker, a lot of times foreclosures get reported inaccurately. So you can utilize, whether it's us or we give you the tools to do it yourself, you can engage that process to make sure that everything they're reporting about that foreclosure is 100% accurate. It may end up falling off. That doesn't mean it goes away when you sit in front of Chris and he asks you the question, have you had a foreclosure in the last 3 years? You have to answer that question honestly. But from a credit standpoint, you can definitely minimize the damage that it does to you.
Okay, so basically, what I'm doing is I bought a car and paid that off and the whole thing, and that's, I got my financial life back on track. So it's just a matter of time and being consistent is what you're saying.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Here's a couple. It's just a super quick pointers. All right, you want to have at least 2 revolving credit cards, at least 2, ideally 3 to 5. All right, and use those wisely. Never carry a balance more than 30% of your credit limit. Always keep those purchases 30% or lower, ideally under 20%. You don't want to pay a lot of interest. Use those cards for what I recommend would be cash purchases, and then pay them off at the end of the month so that you have that activity. That's going to go a long way to helping you.
I would agree. Joe, thanks a lot for calling in. And by the way, I am looking forward for some A&M tickets in the SEC, by the way.
Yeah, just tell Chris the next time we go, I'll try to go to the right side of the stand.
That is correct. I would agree. I'll tell the story offline, buddy.
Hey, Joe, also visit the Real Estate Rat Pack website, realestateratpack.com. All of the sponsors are there. You can hit my company logo, Improve My Credit USA, and give our credit counselors a shout. They'll really give you some guidance. Whether you use us or not, it doesn't matter. We'll give you a kind of a blueprint or plan for moving forward.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And the other thing we've been talking about here recently within foreclosure, we have OneGuard back in the studio. One of the things we got last week, we got a really good comedic relief when we were talking about divorce and pest control. So I wanted them to introduce ourselves. We are coming up against, we have about 4 minutes left here. But, Bill, let us introduce us about OneGuard one more time and sort of what you guys do.
Yes, I'm Bill Napick with OneGuard Home Warranties here with Natasha. And earlier in the show, Chris, I heard the word repair on a home. And
you rushed down to the studio.
Oh, I started taking notes. I just got here. But anyway, the repairs, once that foreclosure or any home, when the home is repaired and brought up to speed, that is the time to put a home warranty on it. Right, Natasha?
Absolutely. That's when you want to get that warranty in, especially investors. If you're looking at putting renters in that property, once those repairs are done, why not put a home warranty? That way everything is taken care of. You call one number, and we'll get somebody out, and you'll pay that $59 service call.
And also, you know that the home does not have to go through a breakdown to use the home warranty. We have convenience features, and you can bring that foreclosure or any home up to the true potential it can be with convenience features like lawn fertilization. You mentioned pest control, and our plans can be tailor-made so that whatever's in the property that you want to protect, we have a plan for you, and it's very easy to do so. Just give us a call.
And what is that number, by the way?
That is 888-896-0014.
Every time we're on the studio, we always think about pest and
my favorite subject.
Pest control. We're always going to have that as of last week, by the way.
Most abundant pest control offering, and I'm being serious. Check out the other brochures and check ours out. It is abundant and good.
In Texas, some of the roaches here are big enough to be a house pet. But
they don't
most
count.
people don't want them. So be sure to give these guys a call. Also, on our website, you can find them. Just click on their logo. They're a sponsor of the Real Estate Rat Pack radio show, so we're always definitely glad to give them shout-outs. So visit realestateratpack.com and click on the OneGuard logo, and it will take you straight to them.
Absolutely. And, and we appreciate everybody being in studio today. We are coming up against the end of the show. Stacy, it's always a pleasure having you on board here. I appreciate the fact that we didn't get into a big conversation that had any explicitives in it.
Yep.
It's always very important, right?
What are you trying to say, Chris?
That I love you, man, and that I really appreciate it. We're going to have you back talking about some more foreclosures here pretty soon. As always, we have OneGuard, a great sponsor of ours. If you're out there buying or selling a home, or if you just own a home and need to have a warranty put on it, call OneGuard Home Warranty. Great company. Bill?
Thank you, Chris. Thank
Likewise.
you, everybody.
And as always, we've got Joe, we have Rob, we have myself. We appreciate everybody tuning into the Real Estate Rat Pack Show. Look us up on Facebook, Real Estate Rat Pack Show. We'll talk to you soon.
And you've been listening to the Real Estate Rat Pack. The question is, who's Frank, who's Sammy, who's Dean, and who's the other guy?
Chris is Frank,
I'm
he's
Dean.
Dean, and I'm Sammy.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So tune in to the really big